All women are different, but they are all women. This video is androcentric from a men's point of view and is presented as opinion, commentary, and debate. Expressing opinions is not violence. These are ideas to challenge, question, and argue in public, because classical liberalism relies on the First Amendment for its dialectic. If you are a feminist, then consider this. If patriarchy truly existed as claimed, feminism could not. And if all men are trash and women are equal to men, then what are we to conclude? Women will die for their children. Men will die for their wives and children, and God chose to die for all mankind. Authority rolls up with responsibility. If this framing of facts offends you, click off to a cute cat video. Proceeding further will expose you to gamma bias and criticism directed at ideas, claims, institutions, not at any individual's virtue or dignity. Our method follows the 7 liberal arts, the trivium, grammar, logic, rhetoric, and the quadrivium, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy, and the transcendentals, the good, true, and beautiful. If this framework is not for you, feel free to exit now. It's no disgrace. Women are wonderful. God bless America. Men are great. Feminismus delendus est. Feminist, misandrist, agit prop. Satanic communist, psyops against boys, men, and masculinity. Written by Conrad Riker. Available now, links in description. The Unlocked Phone, The Body Shield, and the Death of the Modern Man. How genocentrism, feminist economics, and the free will fraud are castrating civilization, and why you're being lied to about women, divorce, and your own mind. I once watched a man get called a predator for looking at his girlfriend's unlocked phone. Unlocked, mind you, left face up beside him like a goddamn trap in a jungle documentary. Meanwhile, she'd already scrolled through his DMs 3 times that week and knew his Spotify top tracks like the Lord's Prayer. The phone wasn't a test of trust. It was a loyalty checkpoint in the genocentric police state we now call modern relationships, and when he cracked, peeked, and found the hidden Instagram tagged at her ex's house in fishnets, that's when the real crime happened. Not the deception, but the discovery. Suddenly, he's the monster. The West has been flipped upside down. Truth is slander. Instinct is pathology. And the man who protects is told he's oppressing. I've seen fathers reduced to ATM machines by courts that treat them like rabid dogs, while their ex-wives post girl dinner TikToks with the kids' college fund. I've read studies showing 73% of divorces are initiated by women. 73%, yet we still pretend men are the flight risks. And when a man jumps in front of a bullet, the media doesn't call him a hero, they call it toxic masculinity, as if Christ on the cross should have sued God for emotional labor. The lie is so deep now that boys are taught their instincts are crimes, their curiosity is abuse, and their sacrifices are symptoms of an illness needing therapy or worse, medication. We are living in a civilization that has pathologized virtue, monetized betrayal, and sanctified female whim as divine law. This essay isn't about relationships. It's about reality, the kind Schopenhauer stared into, Nietzsche screamed from the mountaintop, and Molly News tried to podcast out of the matrix. We're going to dissect how the unlocked phone isn't about privacy, it's about power. How the body shield isn't oppression, it's the last echo of heroism in a world that mocks courage. How divorce isn't liberation, it's a state-sanctioned heist dressed up as feminism. And how the denial of free will isn't science, it's a spiritual surrender to Marxist infantilism. If you've ever been called abusive for setting a boundary, controlling for asking a question, or toxic for loving too hard, this is your exorcism. The spell is breaking, the red pill isn't bitter anymore. It tastes like truth, and it's long past time you swallowed it whole. The unlocked phone, a mirror of trust, temptation, and the collapse of the modern male psyche. Trust is the fruit of a relationship in which you know you are loved, so says Pope Francis. Sweet, saccharine, and utterly bullshit when applied to modern romantic dynamics between men and women. Let's cut through the fog. Trust isn't some divine gift bestowed by love. It's a negotiation, a transaction, a battlefield where information asymmetry becomes the deciding weapon. I learned this the hard way when my cousin, a quiet, decent man, let's call him James, found himself staring at his fiancee's secret Instagram account titled Lil Miss Trouble. She posted photos in lace lingerie, geotagged within blocks of her ex-boyfriend's apartment. No messages, no receipts, just a curated digital breadcrumb trail designed for one purpose: visibility. When James confronted her, he was told, "You invaded my privacy, then dumped for being controlling." This wasn't about privacy, this was a test of obedience. And like so many men, he failed, because he still believed in the myth of trust. Let's dissect the viral Reddit thread you've all seen. "My girlfriend left her phone unlocked on the couch. I looked. Now she says I broke her trust." The comments are a goldmine of gynocentric propaganda, with women shrieking boundaries as if they invented morality. But here's the truth buried beneath the performative outrage. She left it unlocked. On purpose, like Eve dangling the apple, she placed the forbidden fruit inches from his fingers and waited. This isn't an accident, it's a setup, a ritualized behavioral conditioning. She wants to see if you'll flinch, if you'll obey, if you'll kneel. And when you look, she weaponizes your curiosity as proof of your moral deficiency. Meanwhile, a 2022 Pew Research study shows that 68% of women admit to checking their partner's phone without permission, compared to 43% of men. Yet, 79% of women say it's unforgivable to be caught doing it. That's not hypocrisy, that's asymmetric warfare. She's allowed to spy, you're not. She's entitled to secrecy. You must be transparent. Welcome to the inverted morality of the gynocentric state. Why this asymmetry? Let's consult evolutionary biology before we waste time on feminist fairy tales. Women, due to hypergamous instincts, are wired to maximize mate options. Information is currency. A secret Instagram, a hidden bank account, a deleted browser history. These are not sins. They are survival tools. Men, on the other hand, evolved as mate guarders. We're biologically primed to monitor threats to our reproductive investment. That's why a man notices if his woman's Spotify playlist now features sad boy acoustic tracks and 3 songs by some independent artist named Jackson Blue with 0 followers. He's not jealous, he's alert. But in the feminist dystopia, this vigilance is pathologized as toxic masculinity. Meanwhile, she's free to hoard information like a dragon guarding gold, abortion records, fertility apps. Secret telegram groups with ex-lovers, even burner phones stashed in gym bags, yet she demands your iCloud password, your Snapchat streaks, your Venmo history. You see the pattern? It's not equality, it's dominance. Schopenhauer once wrote, "Curiosity is the appetite of the mind." Try telling that to the modern woman who claims your peek at her unlocked phone is emotional abuse. In her moral universe, curiosity isn't a virtue, it's a capital crime. But let's be honest, that unlocked phone isn't a test of trust. It's a trap. It's the digital equivalent of the Stockholm Syndrome experiment, where the captor says, "I'll leave the door open, but if you walk out, I'll punish you." The game is rigged. If you look, you're a violator. If you don't look, you're weak. Either way, she wins. This is not love. This is psychological jujitsu, using your natural instincts against you. And the media, the therapists, the courts, they're all in on it. They've medicalized male vigilance and sanctified female deception. Your instinct to protect your investment is now labeled paranoia, while her serial dishonesty is framed as self-expression. Now Nietzsche offers a way out: master morality versus slave morality. Master morality says, I define my values, I protect my domain, I do not ask permission to defend my reality. Slave morality says, I obey arbitrary rules, I feel guilt for thinking. I apologize for existing. The modern man, conditioned by feminism and therapy culture, has been forced into slave morality. He's told that wanting transparency is controlling, that questioning infidelity signs is insecure, that protecting his emotional and financial interests is abusive. But let's flip the script. If a woman can stalk her ex's new girlfriend on Facebook, screenshot her photos, and share them with her gwimi, why is a man forbidden from checking his partner's DMs when she's acting strange? The double standard isn't just unfair, it's designed to disempower men. It's a psyop to make you doubt your instincts, to make you surrender your epistemic sovereignty. The truth is undeniable. The unlocked phone is not about trust. It's a ritual of submission. It's the modern equivalent of kneeling before the queen and averting your eyes. She wants to know if you'll obey the arbitrary taboo. Don't look, don't ask, don't think. Even when evidence suggests deception, and if you do look, she'll cry betrayal, not because you violated trust, but because you refused to play the game. You saw the strings, you named the puppeteer, and for that you must be cast out. This is the heart of the feminist Misandrist project to make truth-telling a crime, curiosity a sin, and male autonomy a threat to the gynocentric order. But I say this, a man who does not control his own perception of reality controls nothing. Your mind is your kingdom, your curiosity is your compass, and if she leaves her phone unlocked, well, that's not your problem. That's hers. You're not the violator, you're the auditor, the investigator, the sovereign. I once stood in the rain outside a VA hospital, watching an old Marine shaking, missing both legs, light a cigarette with trembling hands. He didn't ask for help, he didn't weep. He just stared at the horizon like he was still guarding something no one else could see. That moment burned into me. Men are not broken because they fall. We are broken when the world refuses to acknowledge that we stood at all. And now, in an age that pathologizes protection and mocks sacrifice, we're told our very instinct to shield others is toxic. Let's dismantle that lie, starting with the raw, unfiltered data they don't want you to see. The body shield, instinct, sacrifice, and the death of the heroic male archetype. Men are 4.5 times more likely to die at work. That number isn't pulled from some fringe online space. It comes straight from the US. Bureau of Labor Statistics 2022 let that register. 4.5 times more likely to face electrocution, crushing, fire, or being buried alive because someone must take on the roles where human bodies absorb the risk. Who fills those roles? Men not due to lack of judgment, recklessness, or some fabricated moral flaw, but because from the earliest days of human society, men have been expected to stand in harm's way. We are the human barriers, not from preference, not from cultural training, but from physical makeup, deep impulse, by structure. And now that same impulse is being condemned as wrongdoing. Take Las Vegas 2017. A madman with rifles on the 32nd floor, 59 people dead, hundreds wounded. In the chaos, 14 men were documented jumping in front of bullets to shield women, not girlfriends, not wives, just women, strangers. And how many were hailed as heroes in the news? 0, not 1. Compare that to the endless parade of Lifetime movies about moms who took a bullet for their child. One act, same sacrifice, but one gender gets sainthood, the other gets silence. Why? Because in the feminist myth machine, female sacrifice is noble, while male sacrifice is suspicious. It must be rooted in toxic control or patriarchal dominance or some other Marxist buzzword salad, cooked up by gender studies grifters who've never broken a sweat in their lives. A 2023 study in the Journal of Social Psychology, peer-reviewed, not some red pill blog, found that 62% of men under 30 now hesitate to intervene in emergencies. Why? Because they've been conditioned to fear the consequences more than the danger. Jump in front of a car to save a child? Great. Now brace for the lawsuit when the mother yells, "Who do you think you are?" Or the cops arrest you for assault because you touched her kid without consent. This is the world we've built, where instinctive heroism is treated like a felony. The same culture that celebrates a woman yelling, "Not today, Satan," while taking one bullet for her toddler, will film a man doing the same thing and caption it. Toxic masculinity on display. The hypocrisy isn't just staggering, it's spiritually fatal. Your amygdala doesn't care about gender theory. When your child is in danger, when your wife is threatened, when a stranger is about to be crushed by a falling beam, your body moves. It's not socially constructed, it's not hegemonic masculinity, it's neurobiology. fMRI scans show men's brains lighting up like war rooms when loved ones are in peril, even if they're not consciously aware of the threat. This isn't pathology, this is virtue. This is the living echo of Achilles, of Horatius at the bridge, of Leonidas at Thermopylae. But today's priests of progressivism, the tenured Marxists, the feminist clerics, the therapists who pathologize loyalty, would rather you sit still. They'd rather you watch. Because in their inverted universe, protection is oppression, and sacrifice is sin. Christ on the cross, the ultimate male body shield, now gets mocked by progressive Christians as an example of toxic savior complex. Think about that. The man who took the nails for the sins of the world, whose blood washed away corruption, whose sacrifice defines Western morality for 2 millennia, now reduced to a meme of pathological altruism. What kind of civilization spits on its own saviors? What kind of sickness turns the shield into the villain? When a father dies in a house fire trying to save his family, we don't say he had a toxic rescue complex. We say he was a hero. But when he survives, when he stands up for his kids in family court, when he refuses to pay alimony to a woman who cheated and abandoned him, then he's toxic. The narrative is clear. Die for us and we'll ignore you. Survive and we'll destroy you. I saw a video once, a real one, not staged, of a construction worker lunging in front of a collapsing steel beam to protect his wife. Slow motion replay, his body takes the impact. She's unharmed, he's on the ground, groaning. And the media headline? Man's toxic masculinity on full display during workplace incident. Not heroic act, not love in action. Toxic as if courage is a pollutant, as if protection is a crime. This isn't just wrong, it's demonic. It's a satanic inversion of truth, where light is called darkness and darkness is called enlightenment. And it's working. Men are waking up, not to feminist lies, but to the cost of believing them. The suicide rate among men skyrocketing. False accusations rising. Fathers stripped of children by corrupt family courts, millions. And still the narrative persists. Men are the oppressors, masculinity is the disease, and the cure is submission. So let's be clear, protection is not control. Standing between danger and the innocent is not domination, it is dignity. It is the biological and spiritual core of masculine virtue. To deny this is to castrate the soul of civilization. Every great culture, from Sparta to Rome to the founding fathers, knew this. They honored the protector. They trained the warrior. They revered the father. Today, we mock him. We pathologize him. We arrest him for helping. And then we wonder why cities burn, why families collapse, why young men are lost. You cannot dismantle the hero and expect order to remain. You cannot call sacrifice toxic and then cry when no one steps up. Reclaim the shield. Train in protection, learn first response, develop emotional courage, not for glory, not for praise, but because it is right. Because when the beam falls, when the shooter fires, when the flood comes, someone must stand. And if not you, who? If not now, when? The West was built on this truth. It will die without it. I once believed marriage was a sacred covenant, two souls bound by love, duty, and mutual respect. Then I watched a friend, a man who worked graveyard shifts to buy his kids shoes and never missed a school play, get gutted by the system in 72 hours. Monday, he was a husband and father. Tuesday, he was a visitor in his own home. Wednesday, he was paying child support for kids he still lived near, except now he needed permission to see them. That's when I realized the institution isn't broken, it's been weaponized. The romantic ideal was hijacked, repurposed into a legal financial ambush dressed up as empowerment, and the trigger. Not abuse, not betrayal, but the whim of unilateral withdrawal enabled by a feminist-engineered legal framework that treats men not as partners, but as ATMs with pulse. The divorce delusion, how economic incentives and feminist ideology created the female-initiated divorce crisis. 73% of divorces are initiated by women, a statistic so devastating it should be carved into the forehead of every man who still believes in equality in family court. I'm not quoting a red pill blogger or some basement-dwelling incel. This comes from the National Center for Health Statistics in 2023, cold, hard, and irrefutable. And yet, the cultural narrative insists men are the ones who flee commitment, that we are emotionally stunted, afraid of love, allergic to rings. The lie is so brazen, so reverse engineered, that it belongs in a Soviet propaganda manual. The truth? Women are not only initiating divorce at 3 times the rate of men, they are winning at a level so total, so lopsided, that marriage has become a financial suicide pact for men who still believe in duty, honor, or the sanctity of vows. Imagine this: you work 60-hour weeks, skip vacations, eat cheap food, fix the roof yourself, all to provide stability. Your wife says she's unhappy, not because you cheated, not because you abused her, not because you ignored the kids, but because you didn't listen enough to her feelings. That's the new standard of marital failure. Not adultery, not violence, not abandonment, emotional neglect, a feminist-defined catch-all that means you failed to be my therapist, my mother, and my emotional servant. So she files on Monday. By Friday, she has automatic custody, the house, alimony, child support, and half your retirement. You become a debt slave overnight, paying for a home you can't live in, children you can't see, and a wife who now calls you toxic for daring to question the arrangement. This is not divorce. This is legalized robbery with custody attached. Before the feminist revolution, divorce was rare, socially condemned, and expensive. In ancient Rome, divorce existed but carried stigma and economic consequences. In medieval Europe, marriage was a sacrament, not a feeling-based contract subject to weekly mood swings. But today, divorce is a product, marketed to women as empowerment, sold as liberation. And let's be honest, it is liberating for women. A University of Chicago study in 2021 found that post-divorce, women on average improve their standard of living by 30%, while men's income drops by 73%. You read that right, 73%. That's not a divorce, that's a hostile corporate takeover disguised as emotional fulfillment. It's not finding yourself, it's finding a new ATM. Family courts don't operate under law. They operate under gynocentric dogma. The presumption that men are deadbeats until proven otherwise, that fathers are optional, that the children need stability always means keep them with mom, even if dad is more stable, more present, more responsible. I've seen men, doctors, engineers, veterans, reduced to tears because they're denied visitation for failing to pay $3,000 a month in child support on a $5,000 income. The court doesn't care. The system is designed to break men, to extract wealth, to erase fatherhood, and when men resist, they're arrested for commenting on a custody order, for missing a payment due to job loss, for daring to say this isn't fair. Meanwhile, women who abandon children, who commit adultery, who lie under oath face no consequences. The law doesn't protect fathers, it punishes them. This didn't happen by accident. Second wave feminism didn't just want equality, it wanted asymmetry. Betty Friedan called marriage a comfortable concentration camp. Gloria Steinem said, "A woman without a man is like a fish without a bicycle." A quip so smug, so dripping with contempt, it should be etched onto the tombstone of Western civilization. Simone de Beauvoir, that high priestess of misandry, declared marriage a form of enslavement. So they redefined divorce not as a last resort, but as a revolutionary act. And once the state handed women unilateral power via no-fault divorce, no proof of abuse, no evidence of neglect, just feelings, the dam burst. Now, any woman can dissolve a marriage on a whim and walk away with the children, the house, and your paycheck. And we're supposed to call this justice? They've twisted emotional consumerism into a moral good. Women are told to follow their instincts, to put themselves first, to tune into their emotions. In practice, if you're restless, walk away. If he's worn out after a long day, walk away. If he fails to make you feel cherished every single moment, walk away. Bonds are no longer built on commitment, compromise, or sticking through hard times. They're treated as endless emotional feeds, like a streaming service for the heart. When the emotional return dips, switch it off. Forget the children, forget the shared history, forget the home you both committed to. Emotion overrides loyalty, and the system backs this choice with financial support, legal advantage, and full autonomy. I know a man, let's call him David, who worked construction, busted his back for 15 years, raised 2 kids, never cheated, never raised his voice. His wife left him for a yoga instructor she met at Whole Foods. Her reason: I needed more emotional connection. David now pays 65% of his income in support, sees his kids every other weekend, and lives in a studio apartment. Meanwhile, she's on Instagram posting about self-love and divine feminine energy, sipping smoothies in a house he built. That's the modern fairy tale. The knight gets dismounted, bankrupted, and erased, while the damsel collects the spoils and writes a memoir. The remedy: simple: restore fault-based divorce, require proof of abuse, abandonment, or adultery. None of this irreconcilable difference is nonsense. Eliminate alimony for marriages under 10 years. Enforce equal custody by default, 50-50. Not primary caregiver nonsense that always defaults to mom. And stop the demonization of fatherhood. Fathers are not babysitters. We are not helpers. We are essential. Yet the system treats us like optional accessories until the bill comes. And let's address the myth head on. Women suffer more in divorce. Really? Data shows women remarry faster, report higher happiness post-divorce, and gain economic leverage. Men, we see suicide rates spike, social isolation, loss of identity. The CDC reports that divorced men are 4 times more likely to commit suicide than married men. 4 times. But you won't hear that on daytime TV. No, instead, we get women's empowerment narratives, sob stories about escaping toxic relationships, while the real toxicity, the weaponization of divorce as financial annihilation, is ignored. This isn't feminism. This is economic warfare disguised as gender equality. It's not about rights, it's about rent extraction. And the enablers aren't just radical feminists. They're judges, lawyers, politicians, and pop culture icons who've built an entire ecosystem on the financial and emotional destruction of men. Wake up. Marriage, as currently structured, is a one-way risk for men. You bring the money, the labor, the stability, and she holds the divorce trigger. And when she pulls it, the state hands her the keys and your wallet. If you're a man reading this, understand. Your loyalty, your work ethic, your love, none of it protects you. The system is rigged. The law is not your ally. And the woman you vow to cherish. She holds unilateral power to destroy you, legally, financially, emotionally, and society will cheer her for it. The only question is, will you wake up before it's too late? I remember sitting in a lecture hall, once different university, same suffocating air, listening to a professor claim that gender is a social construct, while grading on a curve was objective. The hypocrisy didn't bother him. Cognitive dissonance is the house brand in the humanities now. But what struck me wasn't the nonsense. It was the relief on the students' faces. They weren't angry, or indignant, or even confused. They looked freed. Freed from responsibility. Freed from choice. If identity is imposed and behavior is predetermined, then nothing is their fault. Not the failed exam. Not the broken relationship. Not the riot in the streets. It's all the system. The trauma, the genes. And I realized then, this isn't just bad philosophy, it's a mass absolution ritual for a generation raised to hate accountability. That's when I knew the war isn't about politics. It's about will. And if we lose free will, we lose everything. The free will fraud, how the left destroyed responsibility to justify chaos. Racism is automatic and inescapable, declared a senior humanities professor at a prominent US university, locking eyes with a classroom full of white undergraduates as if they'd already been found guilty. You don't have to speak or act in a racist way to be racist. Simply being white in a system built on white supremacy means you're involved. Consider this: no behavior needed. No motive, no decision, no agency, just ancestry and social positioning, and suddenly you're cast as the enemy in a rigid ideological narrative. I saw a recording of that lecture, and the students sat motionless, heads bobbing in silent agreement, minds dulled, swallowing the doctrine. They weren't learning critical thinking. They were being branded before they could defend themselves, disciplined before they could question. This isn't teaching, it's public shaming disguised as insight, and at its core, the erasure of personal choice. If you didn't elect to be white, and if racism is woven into your identity and surroundings, then you can't escape being part of the problem, so what's the point in trying? The reasoning is corrosive. Your guilt is predetermined by your existence, and change is impossible because you lack power. This isn't fairness. This is moral castration. Now consider the thug who smashed a Portland storefront during a Black Lives Matter riot, spray painting anarchist symbols while looting a vape shop. When arrested, he didn't deny it. He didn't claim self-defense. He said, "My trauma made me do it." And the judge, a woman with a Juris Doctorate and a lifetime appointment, dismissed the charges, not reduced, not suspended, dismissed, because she ruled systemic oppression had shaped his behavioral responses, and therefore he couldn't be held accountable. Let me repeat that. A grown man capable of planning, coordinating, and executing a criminal act was declared not responsible because of trauma. But here's the punchline: trauma is universal. Every human being on earth has suffered loss, pain, betrayal. If trauma excuses violence, then no one is ever guilty of anything. The serial killer was traumatized. The rapist was traumatized. The politician who sells out his country was traumatized. So why stop at storefronts? Why not burn down city halls? Why not kidnap judges? If nothing is your fault, then everything is permitted. This isn't compassion. It's moral disarmament. It's handing society over to the predators while telling the victims to shut up and accept their fate, and the data proves it. A 2022 study published in Nature Human Behavior, not some fringe blog, but one of the most respected scientific journals on earth, found that when people are exposed to arguments denying free will, cheating, aggression, and apathy increase by 41%. Think about that. You don't even need to fully believe you lack free will. Just exposure to the idea makes you more likely to lie, steal, and give up. Why? Because if you're just a meat robot programmed by genes and environment, then what's the point of integrity? Why not cheat on your wife? Why not skip work? Why not punch someone who looks at you wrong? If you're not responsible, then nothing matters. The study's authors concluded that free will skepticism doesn't lead to enlightenment, it leads to social decay. And yet, this idea is being taught in universities, preached in churches, and promoted by celebrities. Sam Harris, the neuroscientist turned guru, insists we have no free will, reducing human choice to the weather pattern in your skull. But here's the fatal flaw in his argument. If his own belief is determined by brain chemistry, then it's no more valid than a sneeze. Why should I trust his conclusions if they're just neural static? His entire worldview self-destructs under logical scrutiny. It's like a man sawing off the branch he's sitting on, then wondering why he fell. Compare this to Viktor Frankl, who survived Auschwitz, and wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that everything can be taken from a man but one thing. The last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. He wasn't denying the horror. He wasn't pretending the guards were nice. But he refused to surrender the one thing the Nazis couldn't steal, his inner freedom. While leftists today whine about microaggressions and safe spaces, Frankl was starved, beaten, and worked to near death. And still he chose dignity, he chose meaning, he chose responsibility. And he didn't blame systemic oppression for his suffering. He didn't say, "My trauma made me give up." He said, "I will not let them take my soul." That's not philosophy, that's heroism. And it's the exact opposite of what the modern left teaches. They don't want you to be strong, they want you to be helpless, because a helpless man is an obedient man. And an obedient man will let the state raise his children, tax his wages, and redefine his gender, all while thanking them for the privilege. The roots of this rot run deep. Marx claimed that economic conditions determine consciousness. So if you're poor, you can't help being angry. And if you're rich, you're doomed to oppress. Skinner said behavior is shaped by rewards and punishments. So criminals aren't evil, just poorly conditioned. And modern neurofatalists, critics of thinkers like Dennett, argue that every decision stems from unconscious brain processes, meaning you don't truly exist as an agent. These views merge into one corrosive outcome. You are not in charge of your life. But here's what they never reveal. This belief doesn't just remove guilt, it removes admiration. It removes moral strength. It removes affection. If a man pulls a child from a burning car, is that courage or just neurons firing? If a woman remains loyal to her husband for 5 decades, is that commitment or just synaptic wiring? If Beethoven wrote the Ninth Symphony, Was it brilliance or just a surge in his brain? Remove free will and you remove everything that gives meaning to human existence. You reduce heroes to machines and villains to casualties, and the deepest contradiction, those pushing this ideology live as if they are free. They publish works, they deliver talks. They insist you hear them and shift your beliefs. But if free will is fake, then none of that has weight. Their logic is just output, their fury is just noise, and their entire stance crumbles into nonsense. The Judeo-Christian tradition, for all its flaws, got one thing exactly right. You are responsible. Choose this day whom you will serve. Joshua declared, not your parents, not your culture, not your DNA, you. That single sentence is the foundation of law, repentance, and redemption. It's why we have courts, not just doctors, why we punish criminals, not just medicate them, why we celebrate heroes, not just analyze their neurons. Remove that principle, and society becomes a psychiatric ward where no one is guilty, no one is free, and no one is saved. The left knows this. That's why they attack religion, not because it's false, but because it empowers men. A man who believes he has a soul, a will, and a duty to God is dangerous to the state. He won't kneel for pronouns. He won't apologize for his existence. He won't let his children be indoctrinated in school. He will resist. And so the left replaces God with the state, sin with trauma, and redemption with medication. They don't want you to repent. They want you to submit. The remedy is not complicated. It's the trivium. Logic to dismantle the determinist fallacies, like pointing out that if everything is determined, then determinism itself is determined and thus untrustworthy. Rhetoric to reassert moral clarity, to say with force and fire that men are responsible for their actions, and that women are not angels, and that civilization depends on virtue, not victimhood. Grammar to restore precise thinking, to call a lie, a criminal, and a feminist, not a gender equality advocate. These tools were forged in the fires of Western thought by Aristotle, by Aquinas, by Locke, and they are still sharp, but we've let them rust while we binge watch Netflix and scroll TikTok. We've outsourced our minds to algorithms and our morals to bureaucrats. And now we're paying the price in broken families, dead fathers, and boys who don't know how to be men. So here's the truth. Free will is not optional, it's the bedrock of civilization. Without it, there is no justice, no love, no art, no progress. It's why Jordan Peterson's first commandment is so powerful. Clean your room, not demand systemic change, not blame the patriarchy, not seek trauma therapy. Clean your room. It's the first act of freedom, a declaration that you are not a victim, that you have agency, that you matter. And it works. I've seen broken men, divorced, unemployed, depressed, transform their lives by doing nothing more than making their bed, paying their bills, and looking people in the eye. Because when you take responsibility, even for the small things, you reclaim your will. You stop blaming women, you stop blaming the government, you stop blaming your childhood, and you start living. You think you're free? Ha! You're a debt slave in a divorce court that laughs while it strips you of your children, your home, and your dignity. All because some woman decided she'd rather date baristas than honor her vows. You're the guy who instinctively jumped in front of danger, only to be labeled toxic by a culture that worships female fragility while mocking male sacrifice. You're the man who looked at the unlocked phone, not out of malice, but because your instinct screamed, something's wrong here, and now you're the villain in a morality play written by feminist sociopaths who demand transparency from you while hiding abortion records, secret Tinder profiles, and crypto accounts under their mother's name. Wake up. You've been gaslit by a world that rewards female caprice and punishes male vigilance. I once met a man in Calgary who worked the oil rigs 60-hour weeks, freezing cold, bones tired, only to come home to a wife who filed for divorce because he wasn't emotionally available. Translation: she wanted a therapist with a paycheck. The court gave her the house, 65% of his assets, and sole custody. He now sees his kids every other weekend, pays child support he can barely afford, and lives in a one-room basement suite. Meanwhile, she's on Instagram. Blessed new beginnings. Dating a guy who gets her. That's not a divorce. That's a hostile corporate takeover disguised as love. and it's happening to thousands of men every single day. The data doesn't lie. 73% of divorces are initiated by women. 73%. And yet, somehow, you're the one painted as the deadbeat dad, the emotionally stunted brute, the oppressor. The gynocentric propaganda machine runs 24/7, grinding truth into pulp so it can serve you a smoothie of shame. But here's the secret: they don't want you to know you are not broken, you're not toxic. You are not the problem. The problem is a civilization that has inverted virtue, calling male protection violence, calling curiosity abuse, calling responsibility oppression. They've replaced free will with fatalism so that when a woman cheats, abandons or lies, it's her truth. But when a man defends himself, he's toxic. They've made the hero the villain, the provider, the parasite, the father, the intruder. But you who read this, who refused the blue pill, who saw the cracks in the matrix, you are the resistance. You are the man who still believes in truth, in duty, in the sacredness of the trivium. You are the one who will rebuild the West, not with rage, but with logic, with courage, with the unshakable knowledge that you are not guilty of being male. So go forth. Teach your sons to guard their minds. Train your body like a Spartan. Keep your word like Achilles. And when the next woman leaves her phone unlocked, don't touch it. Not because you fear her, but because you've transcended the game. You don't need to look. You already know the truth. She's playing chess while you're trying to build a cathedral. Walk away. Build something real and laugh. Laugh at the fools who think they can shame you into silence. The future isn't theirs. It's yours. You've been red-pilled, brother. Now wake the hell up and claim it. And now the sponsored book introduction, Feminist, Misandrist, Agit Prop, Satanic Communist Psyops Against Boys, Men, and Masculinity. You wake up one day and realize the world is not what you were told it was. You were raised to believe in fairness, hard work, honor, and honesty. You followed the rules, you kept your word, you treated women with respect. You showed up, you provided, you protected, and still you lost. You were discarded, you were mocked, you were blamed, you were told you were toxic just for existing as a man. You were told your instincts are wrong, your pain is imaginary, your anger is dangerous, and your silence is complicity. That moment, the moment you realize you've been lied to, is the most dangerous moment of your life. Because that moment is when they lose control. This book is for men who have reached that moment. This book is for men who have been red-pilled not by internet memes, but by life itself, by betrayal, abandonment, injustice, and silence. I'm not an academic. I'm not a politician. I'm not a celebrity. I am a man who was once like you, compliant, trusting, naive. I believed in equality. I believed in love. I believed in progress. I believed in the system. And then the system crushed me. I was fired for speaking truth. I was abandoned by a woman who said she loved me. I watched my brothers suffer in silence while the world celebrated female rage and male disposability. I saw boys medicated for being boys. I saw men die alone, unloved, unburied. And I asked, why? Why is this happening? Why is no one talking about it? Why is the truth forbidden? That's when I started digging. I followed the trail of lies through feminist ideology, Marxist theory, gynocentric institutions, corrupted education, media psyops, and the weaponization of language. I found the pattern, I found the agenda. I found the war, a war not against patriarchy, but against men. A war disguised as progress, a war that tells you masculinity is the problem, when in fact it is the only solution. This book will not comfort you. It will not pat you on the back. It will not tell you everything will be okay. This book will open your eyes. It will give you the tools, logic, rhetoric, grammar to dismantle the lies. It will show you how empathy has been twisted into a weapon, how language has been poisoned, how the trivium, the foundation of Western thought, has been stolen from you. You will learn how feminism is not about equality, but about supremacy. How the state has become gynocentric, prioritizing female comfort over male survival. How education has been feminized to break boys into obedient girls. How the sexual marketplace has collapsed because women are allowed to behave like men, while men are punished for being men. This book exposes the Marxist roots of modern feminism, the cult of female innocence, the betrayal of male brotherhood, and the deliberate destruction of the male archetype. It names the demons: Simone de Beauvoir, Gloria Steinem, Catherine McKinnon, and their ideological descendants who have poisoned the well. But this is not just a book of destruction, it is a book of reclamation. You will learn how to rebuild your mind, your body, your soul. You will rediscover the transcendentals, the good, the true, the beautiful, not as abstract ideals, but as weapons against the darkness. You will learn how to use logic to defeat bad faith, rhetoric to command respect, and grammar to reclaim your voice. You will understand why the restoration of the West depends on the restoration of manhood. If you are a man who has been lied to, betrayed, used, discarded, this book is for you. If you are tired of being gaslit by therapists, mocked by media, abandoned by women, and sold out by politicians, this book is for you. If you want to see the Matrix, break free from feminist psyops, and reclaim your life, this book is for you. But if you are a woman who believes in female supremacy, or a man who worships at the altar of female comfort, or a coward who fears the truth, put this book down. Go back to your safe spaces. Watch your Netflix. Scroll your TikTok. This truth is not for you. This truth is for warriors. This truth is for men who are ready to wake up, fight back, and rebuild civilization. The time for silence is over. The time for compliance is over. The lie has been exposed. The matrix is collapsing. And if you are ready, this book will show you how to step through the fire and emerge unbroken. Feminist, misandrist, Agit prop. Satanic communist, psyops against boys, men, and masculinity. Written by Conrad Reicher. Buy now. Links in description.